Okay, so you've watched the videos on active recall and spaced repetition, and you know the best methods to revise for exams, but how do you actually learn new content in the first place? Hopefully, I'm going to try and answer that in this video. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Raina, I'm a 4th year dental student, and in this video I'm going to talk about 5 methods to help you learn new content in class. Whether you're in school or university, these 5 tips should help you learn and understand new concepts in the first place before you get to the revising part for exams. So the first thing that I want to say is that learning is not actually the same as memorization, and that was a mistake that I made in school because the content was quite dry, and most of the time I thought if I just memorized it for exams I'd be fine. But long term, that doesn't really work for learning things. So the first thing that helps me learn new content is watching a video before the lesson or class or lecture. Now, I am not a big fan of traditional pre-reading. I think it has its place, but for the most part it's quite long, it's a bit boring, and it's not my preferred method. So what I like to do instead before covering a new topic is to actually search a quick video on YouTube and get an idea of what it is the topic is about. If I can't find a video on it, I will find a quick paragraph to read about the topic, and I will also do a quick flick through of the lecture slides or the content that is coming up. The reason why I think doing this kind of brief exploration of the topic beforehand helps is because it introduces you to the topic, it stops you being completely lost in the lesson, and it contextualizes the topic into a bigger picture. This helps with showing how that concept fits in with everything else. The next method that helps me learn new content is actually paying attention to the aims and objectives of that lesson or lecture. This is because it helps you to identify the key learning points of the topic rather than trying to concentrate on learning absolutely everything and unnecessary material. What I mean by this is that there are a lot of key principles and concepts that repeat in different areas, so you should concentrate on these using the aims and objectives rather than trying to learn absolutely everything. My third method of learning new content is more of an action that I think is really important, and that is whilst you are in the class or a lecture, to ask straight away if you don't understand something. And if it isn't a live class and you're doing this online, to search something straight away if you don't understand it. This is because missing something fundamental in the beginning can really be an issue down the line when you're trying to understand more complex things. And this has happened to me before, where I've missed something the teacher has said and I've just thought, oh, it's fine, I'll look it up later, but trust me, you won't. And then it comes to exams and your whole understanding of a topic can unravel because you missed something so simple earlier on. So tackle the issue head on, and if you don't want to ask your teacher in front of people, that's fine. You can stay behind after the lesson or even email them. So part of learning new content is understanding it, but then actually remembering it down the line. So what I do to help with this is when I watch a lecture, I make my questions and flashcards as I go along. This is mainly for 2 reasons. One, it actively encourages me to think about the topic and formulate a logical question from it. And 2, it makes it so much easier when it comes to exams because rather than passively reading words on a page, which doesn't really do anything, I already have questions made up ready for active recall. And if you've watched some of my other videos, you'll know I've mentioned that active recall and spaced repetition are the best methods of actually learning and remembering things. This is where you test yourself with questions, and you do this at regular intervals to stop yourself forgetting the content. Something you do need to be aware of when you're making flashcards is not making too many, and I have fallen into this trap before. This is where your understanding of the actual topic and being selective and not making a flashcard from absolutely everything comes in. And be aware of not memorizing things but actually trying to understand the concept. So as you're writing questions, check with yourself, does this make sense, and do I actually understand what I've written? The next method that helps me with learning new content is summarising the topic and being able to explain it to someone. So the summary can literally be 2 to 3 simple sentences at the end of a topic that summarises the main learning points, and if you can do this, then you can be pretty sure that you've actually understood it. On top of this, if you can do the summary in simple language and explain the topic to someone and answer their questions on it, you can be quite sure that you've understood what you've learnt because you've been able to pick out the key points of a concept and convert them into a simple way for that person to understand, but keeping the same meaning. For example, in dental school, we have OSCEs, which are a type of practical exam, and there is sometimes a roleplay type question, which is something like explain tooth decay to a child or an elderly person, and you can only really do that if you have understood the topic and you can communicate it in a way that that person will understand it. So I hope those 5 tips were helpful. Using all of these tips together will be even more useful in learning new content, and I will see you all again in the next video. Bye!